am. I'm so excited to be here. Let's see, it's a character-driven drama. It's about aliens, and my goal and Gale's goal is to make aliens scary again. That's what I want to do with the show. So.
But not just scary again, but scary because of what we may think they are. We may be wrong about that. But what they're capable of is truly scary. And great science fiction is an allegory for the fears that we have at the time. Right now, we have a fear of terrorism. It makes us do things that may not be the right things. In The Walking Dead, one of the things that gets people tuning in every week is examining what each character in the show does and the lengths that they'll go to, and wondering whether or not they can keep their humanity. And then we have a character, we have Britne's character, Regan, who's a hunter in human form.
Yeah, and she is Regan's loyal to humans. And sort of always strives to be one and to maintain as much humanity in her hunter ways as she can. Is constantly battling and trying to embrace her hunterness and those instincts and urges and her abilities, and figuring out where she really belongs, which a lot of the times is everywhere and nowhere. And I think a lot of people can identify with that. It's pretty complex.
We live in times where many of us feel that we don't fit in. And that, everyone else has it figured out, and yet perhaps we don't. And that's what every character on the show is pretty much dealing with. Perhaps except Julian McMahon's character.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with Julian McMahon from Nip Tuck, this is a whole new ballgame.
So we've recreated Julian McMahon. You have to look at him on the Syfy page. We call him the Silver Fox. He is the first half of the season villain. I take that back. He comes back, and he's an unhinged alien junkie. He's not just addicted to heroin. He's addicted to shooting at junkies. And he's a little bit, I was thinking of this morning, he's a little bit Tommy, Joe Pesci, and Goodfellas. He's one of those guys, but he's not quite with that team. And he really came in and did a star turn, and it really embraced, I've created this whole hunter world, the physiology, the anatomy, the way they move. Julian got down and dirty, worked with a movement coach. I mean, you guys had your hunter boot camp. And I will say it's a Julian McMahon that you've never seen, and he created a fantastic villain for us. I can't wait for you guys to see.
And Nathan Phillips, who you may remember from either Wolf Creek or Chernobyl Diaries or These Final Hours, plays Agent Flint Carroll.
Yeah, and he's a guy who's lost his wife into this underground world, and it's that his journey is really an examination of, can you ever really know the person that you love? What are their secrets? Where did they go? Can you uncover their psyche? And if you really uncover the true them, do you really love them? Are you meant to be together? So his journey is sort of romantic and personal and about love.
So with having a prosthetic supervisor out to promote and through your works with The Walking Dead and everything, is it safe to assume that, and also you guys mentioning that practicing the movements and a movements coach and everything, that we can expect the same type of visual aesthetic as
it's real. We take prosthetic effects and it's real and it's down and dirty, but we also use cutting edge technology. One of the things that Justin is doing is building things with 3D printers. It's really cool because, you start something, when you leave the office and you come back the next morning and you've got it, and then they age it and paint it and do all of that. But it's something we've never done on a show before, and it's so perfect.
Yeah, we Hunters, is obviously developing its own look, but it's all based on making the science fiction feel gritty and real in every part of it. And Justin's been a big part of that. And just there's a certain, the digital effects are awesome. Of course, we all love them, but there's just a certain verisimilitude that you get when you have a guy sticking his hands in alien blood that you just can't get, with a computer. So we've been lucky enough to find Justin and to stick to that aesthetic across the board and really create a world that feels like, man, I am living this world and hunters are real. And that's what I want to give the audience, and hopefully Justin's part of that, and hopefully we'll deliver that.
all three of you have histories of working with worlds that are darker and grittier. Ravenswood, big thing.
Thank you.
Big 12 Monkeys in as well. So, when you were coming into this, what from your past from your past projects, did you want to sort of filter through into this, and what did you want to make different?
I guess from my past projects, what I wanted to filter through would be, I have tended to do some darker things and more gritty material, which I'm personally drawn to. I'm also drawn to comedy. That will happen at some point. But for me, it's all about the humanity and making it real, as Natalie and Gale said. And making each moment and each character and all of the gore and the supernatural elements relatable and speak to each individual audience member. And the things that I sort of wanted to change would have to be keeping my characters. I've been fortunate enough to play very strong female characters throughout the 5 years that I've been doing this being a professional actor. And I wanted to make sure that even at the most fragile of times, she still remained strong and poised and graceful and kept her female strength. And that's been very easy to do with the way that it's been written and the way that the whole series and everyone working on it, from the crew to the production teams and the actors, all working together and trying to make that happen. And that's been a pleasure, an absolute pleasure.
I have worked on some awesome serialized dramas. I mean, I did Heroes Season 1, Sarah Connor Chronicles. So I think what I want to take from those shows is continuing the tradition of serialized genre shows where the audience is so engaged, everything's knit together, and you're following the journey through a season, and it feels intimate to the audience, you know. So that, I think that kind of storytelling is what I wanted to bring. What I realized at the show is it's a lot sexier than those other shows. I'm just going to say it, like, it's gooey, it's organic, and it has a much sexier vibe, I'm going to say, than Hero, Sarah Connor, or 12 Monkeys. 12 Monkeys is romantic, but we're, I don't know, there's something different when Hunter's under the... I don't know what that says about me, but it's definitely a different...
So I made Aliens, but in Aliens, it was in the future, it was in space, and obviously, Sigourney's character, Ellen Ripley, was trying to keep that threat from coming home. Well, I always wanted to know what happened when it did come, if it did come home. So Aliens Among Us is something that I've always wanted to explore. I did a bit in Alien Nation, but that was a very different. That was really much more of an allegory about immigration and about how we see people who've come to this country as the other, and you can take it to the limit by having those with aliens. And what I wanted to, what I've learned from other shows is it's really important to know where you're headed, because if you start a season and you don't know where you're going, you're never going to get there. You'll get someplace else. So Natalie came to me, and it was music to my ears when she said, I want all of the scripts written before we start rolling the cameras. So the character arcs were figured out, the action was figured out, the theme was figured out. We really know what the tone was. And that's something that in your typical TV series, you're still figuring it out, especially the first season. And you're making it up as you go along, and you're making it up while this giant machine is bearing down on you, and you don't have the time, and you're running out of that enthusiasm, and you're running out of great ideas. And so we had all 13 scripts written.
All right, guys. Sorry, last question.
When you looked at the book, was there anything that you wanted to specifically bring into the TV show?
I think we loved the setup of a man who has lost his wife, and just what it went back to Flynn Carroll's journey, and not knowing who his partner is, not knowing the truth about a secret underground world. And I will say, Whitley, I think Gale, share this fascination with a world that's unseen and something that's just below the surface. And I think that part of Whitley's work is something that very much is part of Hunter's.
I just want to say I'm really excited to see women in a genre show that's dark and gritty. This is really, I'm like, yes, I know.
We're pretty excited.
Yeah, and I'm ready to see you guys get a little dirty and a little dark.
Yeah, yeah.
You'll
It'll be
see
great.
it.
Some good
Yeah.
stuff. I'm
It
excited.
feels really good.